Well, we didn't need our stopwatches for too many 40-yard dashes today, but we did see Bo Nix put on an absolute show with his arm. So what's the reward for the 3 seed? It's a big prize. It's getting to host games at Gill Coliseum, where they've been magnificent all year long. There was still another mountain to climb in the title game, facing a Colorado team that has haunted them like a bad spring break tattoo. Well, this behind me is where the women's beach volleyball team plays its home matches, and that's one of 4 reasons why the team is actually suing the University of Oregon for gender discrimination. I'm going to hit you with a hard-hitting question first, though. Now that the season's coming to a close, how long does the orange hair stay? Yeah, Kendall, as I was interviewing players after the game, the smell of cigar smoke wafted into the room. And the Ducks really deserve to light up those victory cigars after extinguishing the Liberty flames. So here it is, the Big Jack's Burger in all its glory. A burger as robust, as unique, as intense, I would even say, as the guy it's named after, Jackson Powers Johnson. In an offense full of explosive weapons, center Jackson Powers Johnson helps set the tone.
It's just football. It's a child's game, so I have fun doing that.
A child's game. That's how you refer to football. It's a brutal game.
It's a child's game with the king's ransom.
To get into that zone, JPJ has a special ritual before every game.
Every time I run out of the tunnel, I look out to my dad and, point at him and pound my chest, kind of just like signifying that, like, he's got my back.
He just gets there and he looks up and he knows that's where I'm at. And that's where I'll be.
James stepped in to be there for Jackson from a very young age.
When my husband and I got together, James and I got together, Jackson was 2.5 years old. And when we got married, he was 3. And his biological dad has always struggled with different things. And so James really came in and was the dad.
It wasn't always easy at first.
We would just butt heads on little things. Like I would just be like, you can't be a crazy man. You have to you can't run through the grocery store and yell and scream. He's just a big personality, and I think what it was is he needed to be seen.
James did see him, and the two formed a deep bond through sports.
We did road trips together. We went to games together. I won't go to, there's certain stadiums I won't go to unless he's with me.
And one day when he was a kid, Jackson made a decision.
He looked up at me and he said, "Okay, you're dad now." And I'm like, okay. And that was it. And from there on out, I was dad. But there was still one more step for the man born as Jackson Light.
When I was 18, I ended up changing my name to Powers Johnson. The Powers in it is my mom's maiden name, and the Johnson's my dad's name. And, my dad being my stepdad, pretty much raising me my entire life since I was 3 years old.
Once JPJ arrived at Oregon as a freshman, Mario Cristobal let him out of practice early to legally change it in a Zoom court date. Now all that was left to do was surprise his dad with the news.
I ended up FaceTiming my dad, and my mom's kind of in the background. She's about to know what's going to happen. And I go, "Dad, I just got done with court." My dad's like, "What'd you do?" He's like, "What'd you do? Like, come on, just you can tell me, but we gotta know what we gotta do."
Parents' worst nightmare.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Seriously, you've been there a month and this?"
I'm like, "Well, I changed my name. Do you want to know?" And at that point, just tears streaming.
And then he goes, "Do you want to hear my full name?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I just assumed it was gonna be Jackson Powers Johnson. He goes, "It's Jackson James Powers Johnson." And for me, for him to take my first name as his middle name was huge.
They're best friends, and so it was a big deal for both of them, and I've never seen two people happier in my life.
Most people are given their name. Jackson chose his to honor his mom and the man who chose to be his father.
It's still cool to see to this day.
Yeah.
That that's my name. I represent my dad, my dad's name now, and it's really cool, and it means everything to me.
After making the NCAA tournament in 2021, the Beavers lost more games than they won, and they also saw 6 key players enter the transfer portal. But one stuck around through the hard times.
It's definitely weird being kind of like the most experienced on the team at Oregon State, and just last week I think was like my 3-year anniversary of coming to Corvallis my senior year, so it's just a long time and it's crazy to think about.
This year, Talia von Oelhoffen has led Oregon State to a 17-3 start and the team's first appearance in the top 25 since 2021.
Standard was our word at our team retreat that we came up with, and just keeping that standard, holding each other accountable, and just having fun. I feel like we just all love each other so much.
Talia has electrified Gill Coliseum these last 4 years. She also knows how to entertain in a different way.
There's a lot more witty comments in the drafts for sure, but I just think it's fun and it's a cool way to engage with fans and just show my personality.
Beyond the fun and games, Talia has used her voice online to speak out about conference realignment and its effect on student athletes.
I just think that it's super sad to see what money and whatever the reasons were have done to the conference, and just growing up as a kid watching the Pac-12 and just being a fan of it, and just having that dream of playing elite level basketball on the West Coast in a conference like that, and to think that, you know, kids aren't going to have that anymore, that has gone away. It's just super sad, and I just don't think that the priorities were necessarily where they should be in making those decisions.
While the end of the Pac-12 is never far from mind, Oregon State's main focus right now is making some noise in the league's final season. From Corvallis, I'm Trevor Denton.